two excellent workshops going on. We have Daniel McLaurin's Advanced Talhaffer Dagger Techniques and Chris Earl's Judging 101, which I'm just gonna, for today, I'm a little hoarse. I've got a lot of work to do. I'm just gonna kind of let things roll. I have to use my phone a little for work. We have Tyler here. Right. I'm going to show a little bit of what's going on today and what we're kind of doing for the community and what we're providing, right? So I hope you guys enjoy everything.
And I'm telling you right now, those fighters will not be able to hear you saying that. Even just in this little amount of space alone, there's just a lot of noise that we have. Fighters that are fighting will not be able to hear you go hit. You know, like if you're about to faint, don't be judging, okay? But otherwise, project your voice. Making mistakes is part of how you learn. So if you are in a situation where directors are calling hits and are explaining things, take it, all of it as opportunities to learn. It is the best way to learn is to get in there, do it. There, like everything else in HEMA, there is no other way to learn except for actually being there doing it. We will do a little bit of that simulation with videos, and then hopefully we can steal some people to spar a little bit. But be engaged and be confident. You're doing a job that not a lot of people are often chomping at the bit to do. People are grateful for your help, even if you feel like you're not very good at it, even if you feel like you're brand new. So have some engagement in it and be confident in that engagement, because you are in a situation where either you were told to do it, so you can be like, well, you don't want me doing it, put someone else in here more experienced, right? Or you're learning, and everybody's going to be happy that you're learning for the most part. So be confident about that. You're never alone. Do not let anyone intimidate you or argue with you. Arguing and intimidation can look like a couple different ways. You have the passive arguments where people will be like, what the fuck? Whenever you call a hit, and they'll look at you and be like, fuck. And like, you know they're talking about you, right? Don't let people intimidate you. You call what you see. Don't change your call after someone says something like that. You saw what you saw. It's over, right? And people will sometimes intimidate you. I have not had intimidation tactics used on me as a judge in a very, very long time. But when I was first starting out in HEMA, I definitely had someone that was just stomping towards me, and I was a little unsure if they were just gonna like clock me or not, you know? Turns out they were just intimidating me a little bit as they walked right on by me. And they were dealt with very swiftly, and it all worked out okay. But people will lose their temper. The tournaments are high stress environments for some people. Some people take them very seriously, especially when the HEMA rankings are involved and that kind of thing. So you would think it's not that big of a deal. We're not in the Olympics here, but people will try to intimidate you. I will, however, give the caveat to accept feedback after the polls are over. Good directors will typically bring everyone in and say, hey, fighters, great job, judges, great job. Any feedback for me or my judges, and judges, any feedback for the fighters, you know? So that's the part where people can say, hey, like, you called that hit, but I knew it was flat. I saw it flat, I felt it flat, you know, I just wanted to say something, you know? That's the time where we can accept feedback, when it's been invited into space, not during the polls and training exchanges. So don't be scared to ask for advice during a tournament. You can always pause and tell a director, hey, did you want me to call that? That was pretty low quality. You want to just keep it going. That way, if you get a little bit more communication with directors. And then hold others around you to the professionalism that you are bringing to the table, okay? So don't look at other judges' calls is what I'm saying. If you're clicking and they're a tie, you hold that tie right out, okay? If you said, red definitely hit blue in the head and blue didn't do shit back, you know? And everyone else is like, blue hit red in the head, you know? Sometimes it can be the case where you're like, oh shit, I got the wrong hand, right? I got the wrong color. That's okay, it happens, but make your call, do your hand signals, then you can look up at the other judges. That's usually the decorum that people have. And also move around. You'll have your little slice of the pie in the ring. Move around, engage your body. If you're just sitting there for hours on end, just watching people fight like this, you will miss so much, okay? I get picked on all the time for my squatting when I'm judging, but there's a reason for it, because when you can see under the fighter's arms a little bit, you can see the swords crossing a little bit better, you can see the swords a little bit better than if most of these guys are taller than me. So So all of their shoulders are at this height for me. I'm like having to either peek up or peek under. So if you're a very tall guy, you may not need to squat under. You might be able to look down on everybody. But for most people that are of average heights, it can help to be under just a little bit. So move around, move in your corner. If they are coming to you in such a way that you can't see them, step to the side of your pie so that you can actually see them more. All right? Any questions about that? If you take nothing else away from this class, if you're like, this is fucking boring, that would be what I give you, okay? So, go for it.
Yeah, your advice about being loud is wonderful. But if you're a judge and you're trying to be loud, don't try and shout. It actually takes practice to be able to project your voice, to be loud from your abdomen so that you are consistently being able to be loud in a loud space without straining your vocal cords. It really is something that you have to practice and not just go out and shout without abdominal support. Any singer or public speaker, and you're doing an excellent job of projecting and speaking to in a loud environment.
It's even harder if you're a nasal person like me, where you talk through your nose. It's difficult to like talk through the stomach. You want to talk up here instead of down here.
Right.
I'm not a vocal judge or a vocal coach, so I won't be able to help any of y'all with that. But if you don't want to lose your voice, it's nice to project from the tummy. If you feel like you kind of do an ab workout, if you're a potato like me, and you feel like you kind of ab workout every day, then you've done it right. So, what is our job as a judge by priority? Number one is communicating with the directors, the staff, the fighters, and the spectators. Communication is our number one job. We could see 0 hits ever, but at least if you are communicating, you are doing your number one job, okay? Directors need to hear you. Directors in many tournaments, for example, like Queen's Gambit, they are told to follow the majority of the judges on their calls unless something is like extraordinarily circumstances. So we need to make sure that we're communicating. We need to make sure our fighters can hear us without having to look at us. We need to make sure our directors can hear us without having to look at us every single time. If you've ever directed and you're doing this for 8 hours a day, it gets tiresome. We need to make sure that we're being considerate of the directors and of the fencers, and that we are projecting our voices. We also need to make sure that we're looking out for safety, okay? We're looking out for safety for ourselves, of course, like we said. We're not getting hit with heavy swords. That's not our job. That's the fighter's job. But we are also making sure that the spectators around the ring that these are safe, and we're looking at our fighters' gear each and every time. We need to make sure that we are constantly checking in with the fighter's gear. Oftentimes elbows or knees get unbuckled, back of the head protection can slide off, gorgets can slip out. I've seen it all. Swords can break. We need to make sure that we are constantly checking in with all of the gear, not just at the beginning of the match, but each exchange. We are just taking, when they're breaking, your eyes should be going over those fighters and looking for changes, right? So we need to make sure that we're collecting safety. We've had spectators where their dogs have tried to run into the ring to their fencers. We've had spectators where their little kids try to get too close to the ring, and those fencers, they'll step out of the ring very, very quickly, and it goes way far. So we want to make sure that we are taking the time to look around us and be aware of our surroundings as well. Okay? We want to understand the rules of the tournament. That's rule 3. It is not our top priority. It's important as a judge, but our number one priority is to communicate and safety. We can keep the fighters safe, and we can keep communicating with the directors. Everything else will flow out, But understanding the rules of that tournament will give you so much confidence as a judge. If you know that hand hits aren't worth shit, and your director's like, I'm not calling hand hits, then you have that confidence to not say anything when a hand is clearly hit, right? So understanding the rules of that tournament can give you as a new judge a lot of confidence. So read the rules. And then seeing what happened in the exchanges and matches, that's our core goal. And it's the lowest on the list, you'll notice, for a reason, because even in, we're gonna be watching videos from like Swordfish, which was like, at one point in time, like they were Super Bowl, you know? And even those guys, on the first watch, don't see all of the hits. They will replay video and then call it based on the replays and that kind of thing. And they'll be different from their initial calls. So at the biggest, bestest level with the people who have a ton of experience, they still miss calls, okay? So you as a new judge, don't be expecting perfection from you because it doesn't happen, okay? So we want to make sure that we're seeing exchanges and matches. We want to make sure that we're calling these as accurately as possible. But we want to make sure that we're doing that under the basis of all of that upper stuff first. Any questions? Pretty straightforward, right? A little abstract, but pretty straightforward. How to communicate? Closed loop communication. We don't nod our head when our director says, "Judge is ready." The director's looking for 3 voices saying, "Ready!" We want to be, you don't have to be screaming, but you want to be loud enough that the director can hear you above the noise. I don't need to be super loud in this environment.
Get my knees low.
Talking
Yeah,
to
low like this.
But in someplace like Gambit, where you have music playing, you have people on treadmills right next door, you have 6 different rings going on, everyone's yelling and shouting, their swords clashing. Yeah, this is the time to get a little louder. So don't be afraid to use assistive devices. If you are someone that
So if
cannot
he's
shout,
throwing like
there's
that,
some people that
I did it with
don't
my
have
right.
the voice, the vocal cords
You
for it.
notice I
You
grab
can
him
have
close to the wrist, right?
projectors, you know,
Now
projectors
turns up.
are good, they have the energy.
Look at here.
They will project your voice without you shouting one word. Also, speak with purpose. If you're off in space, looking around, you know, and you're saying things 2 to 3 seconds delayed, it's going to slow down the entire flow. We are what keeps the
Any grapple with the ball is
flow.
going to try and go out.
Director says, "Judge is ready." He is ready. You know, like having that point close to communication is going to help the director get that moving along. And honestly, it takes you out of it faster. Because the quicker the pool goes, the more you can rest your eyes and stare at nothing for a while. We've already talked about safety a little bit, but we want just to
And then you just keep control of that
go
wrist.
over fighters violating the rules. So when throws are not allowed, if you see a fighter starting to go for a throw, there's always like some kind of
And now you're in a good
purple
position, right? I
banana
can
safety
bring that.
word.
As we'll show later,
Right?
actually
There's
bring
always
it
like safety, safety, or halt, 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 you know?
That's a good position. That's right.
Practice saying whatever it is that safety word is so that you can, when someone's saying like, for example, a common thing in spear
One thing I want to point out,
you are not allowed to
so I'm
chop
not,
more than 45
I'm not
degrees.
really getting my shoulder.
You see someone come from a 90-degree angle, then you can say halt, 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 you know? They come from here, down,
Right here, I really don't
you
have
call
a throw.
halt,
Could be this one,
right?
this is something
It's a
else
safety
different.
issue.
I'm not getting my
Even
shoulder
though,
underneath me when I'm
in
doing it.
reality, was it the worst thing ever? Was it gonna hurt somebody? Probably not, but it's against the rules, you know the rules, so we're gonna call for that
Where
safety
his elbow
issue, right?
goes, his body falls.
Even if it's a mistake to call for safety, you can just say, "Oh, halt, halt." Sorry, my bad. You know, it's easy to do. It's easy to change over. Directors are never going to be mad at you for calling for what you thought was a safety issue that turned out to be okay. All right. Fencers will survive no matter what. Knowing the tournament rule set, just a little touch on that. I think it always helps to rewrite or reword them in your own words. So you'll have a paragraph that's very legalese almost and saying like, oh, this and the other thing, and you read it and you go, oh, okay, so head hits are 3 points no matter what lines we're using. No matter what weapon, head hits are always 3 points. It's rewording it in your own words. It helps you understand the tournament rule set in a way that is way more simplistic in a way that makes sense for you. So
There's a little sneak peek for y'all. I'll do a couple lives throughout the day through each block. I hope you guys enjoy everything we have to offer coming in, and stay tuned for the live stream tomorrow. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like. It helps us out a lot. Have a good day, y'all.